how do I use my research questions as filters when I'm looking for literature? So I'm not reading everything. Matthew, how do we let our research questions guide our engagement with the literature to make things a little bit more accessible?
Yeah, this is a great one because, it can be really disheartening sometimes when you throw a keyword into a search engine and you get 5,000, 7,000, 20,000 articles back because you're not going to read that. Nobody ever is, right? That's totally unrealistic. So, how can we use our research questions to kind of guide that? So, first, I think we can use our research questions to guide our search strategy. So, you should never start your literature review search without first having built a search strategy that includes keywords and the databases that you're going to look at, as well as any filters you're going to apply. So, I always do this work in a spreadsheet because I like the neat little columns and cells. But go in there, take your question and break it down into keywords. Think about common keywords today, but also keywords from past eras of research. So, a good example from my work, I do a lot of work around English language learners. Today, we might call those students English learners. We might call them multilingual learners, but in the past, they've been called English as a second language learner, right? And so we would want to use that prior term as a keyword in addition to more modern terms as we're doing our search. So break that down into several keywords. Identify the databases and then identify what filters you're going to use. Are you going to apply maybe just the past 5 years, just the past 10 years for your search? Also, think about other criteria that you're going to check for. So, when I am doing a literature review, I'm doing my search, I'm going through and I'm looking at titles and abstracts, and I'm pulling papers that I want to read. But I'm not reading as I go. I'm pulling papers, I'm making a little library for myself that I'm going to read later because it really gets confusing if you try to read as you pull because every time you hit refresh, the stuff moves around on the screen. So I'm reading abstracts, I'm reading titles, and I'm pulling stuff that further resonates with my question. So I'm going to ask myself, after I've read this abstract, does this resonate with my question? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Or are there other contexts? So maybe I only want to look at studies that have been done in the UK, that I'm going to filter those out as I do my abstracts. A lot of my clients right now, I'm telling to really focus on research post pandemic because the post pandemic world is very different than the pre pandemic world. And so I might look to see, is the pandemic addressed in the title or the abstract? That could give me important context. So I think it's all about the strategy. How do we build a strategy based on our research questions and then use that research question and kind of ask ourselves, could this paper, based on the title and the abstract, could it help me answer my question? And if it can, it goes in a folder to read later. If it can't, scroll to the next one.
That's really good advice. Making sure that you're putting limitations and ring fencing what you want to cover. So you can't read all the papers. But if you say, I'm going to read all the papers published since the pandemic or in the last 5 years, that's going to immediately bring it down. The other thing you can also consider is maybe you look at the quality of the papers as well. Are they from reputable journals? Are they from common journals in the field? And then, as Matthew said, have a folder that is for papers that you're going to read. Have a folder for papers that you're unsure about. Because if you're
Yeah.
unsure about it, if you've got time, maybe when you're waiting for supervisor feedback, then you can go and take a look at that paper. But if you don't have time, then it can just stay in that folder. And if it's not useful, don't read it. Just leave it out of your list. That's generally going to help you. And then, as Matthew said, it's really about your search strategy. So finding out what are the key ideas, what are key concepts that you want to convey, and using that to guide your approach.